supplementation isn't the same for everyone. And your bottleneck isn't the same as their bottleneck. What am I talking about? Let me explain. Here's a scenario that plays out over and over and over again. Someone discovers a supplement that changes their life. Weight drops, energy surges, brain fog clears, and they post about it. And they tell everyone about it. And then all the testimonials roll in. And then you try it. And nothing happens. Maybe a placebo effect for a week, then back to baseline. What happened? The supplement industry will tell you that you need to, quote unquote, give it time, or stack it with other things, or buy our premium version. But here's the truth. That supplement fixed a bottleneck in your friend's system that you do not have. This episode is about bottlenecks. Why supplements work brilliantly for some people and do nothing for others. And how genomics is revealing that we're not all responding to the same interventions. We're also going to talk about why copying someone's supplement stack is a waste of money and potentially dangerous. Because your body isn't their body. Your genetics aren't their genetics. And your bottleneck isn't their bottleneck. All right, so let me lay the groundwork a little bit here, right? So you have a whole bunch of different health influencers. That's what I'll call them. And I'm grouping a bunch of different people into this health influencer category, okay? But you have a bunch of health influencers who are all over social media, all over the internet. You know, some of them might be your good friend, and they always talk about their supplement stack, which is usually around, anywhere from like 5 to 10 different supplements that they put together, that they take daily, and they swear up and down by, and it gives them all these different results and things like that, right? And listen, a lot of the people who fall into this category, and again, it's a very broad category, a lot of people who fall into this category, they're doing it the right way. They're testing, they're tracking, and then they're adjusting as they go along. That's not where the problem lies. The problem really lies in us copying what their stack is, right? Case in point, hey, look, I'm trying to reduce inflammation. So I'm going to take a whole bunch of supplements that deal with inflammation. So it's like I'll take the curcumin, the CoQ10, I'll throw in maybe a little bit of berberine, and just based on what other people do, I'll throw in maybe even some peptides, right? So we'll have this whole setup based on what this influencer does, basically. So this influencer has this whole setup, this whole stack, and you see it, and you see what they look like, or you see what type of life they want you to believe they live, and then you decide to go get that exact stack. That doesn't always lead to positive health outcomes, and in a lot of cases, it could be potentially pretty dangerous. Okay. And the reason why I bring this up in this way is because their supplement stack is optimized for them. It's not optimized for you. This is where it gets a little deceptive, though, because they'll take their optimized stack for them and say this is for everyone. And that's not the case. It's not the case at all, right? Their stack is optimized for their genetics, for their bottlenecks, for results that are going to be achievable for them, for their bodies. But they'll put it together and package it real nice and say like, hey, this is for all cases inflammation. This will help you out no matter what you do, no matter who you are. And that's not how supplements work. And the interesting part is like a group of people who are in this, health influencer arena, I would put some biohackers in there as well. See, the biohackers, they're an interesting bunch because they test everything and they make decisions based on metrics. Like, they track the metrics obsessively. But they actually have the right approach. They test everything so that they know what combination of what works for them. And so this is where biohackers, they're almost like, some of them are in the health influencer category, right? But there's others who are just like, you can almost line up with them perfectly. But here's the problem though. So the biohackers, they test and everything. They do go through all the tough parts of the process of determining what works for them and what will optimize their personal health. And what the general public will do then is look at their stack, not want to do the same type of work, and just copy the stack. So essentially, they want the stack without the testing, and they want the results without the understanding. Everybody wants everything so quick that you're almost missing the point then, right? And by everyone, I don't mean like literally everyone. You know what I mean. Again, people tend to imitate the outputs of biohackers and completely ignore the inputs. Now, also, there are some bad actors within the supplement industry, obviously, right? A group of them I guess you would call them like MLM supplement people, right? Like multi-level marketing supplement folk, for lack of better terms, right? And then what they'll say a couple things, right? One thing they'll say is that there's one product for everyone, right? So like berberine is for everyone, right? Maybe not, right? They typically do not acknowledge individual variation either. On top of that, they'll have some things, and they'll have some studies too. And that's the cool part about it. They'll have some studies that'll back up what their particular supplement does, right? But they're all cherry picked. And a lot of times you got to question who funds them. But, well, no, that's a part of it too. You have to question who funds some of these studies that they kind of highlight and they pick and says that supports what they're doing and what they're trying to sell you. Yeah, and then, in general, some have responses, some respond, and they will just highlight those people who do respond to that particular supplement. But they only respond because they had a deficiency or they had some gap that they needed to fill within their systems, right? But most people will not respond because they don't have that same issue. You get what I'm saying? But these, I call them bad actors still. These bad actors, that model, it essentially, it only goes after sales. It's not after solutions. It's just after the dollar. So MLMs, they sell universals in a world that's built on biological specifics, right? There's also this idea of, when people say like, well, this is what worked for me, so it could work for you. And I mean, that's dangerous as well, right? And it happens way too often, especially on social media, right? But we're in the age of anecdotal evidence, right? Everybody has something that their best friend did, something that their family member did, something that someone else did, and they're just going off of that. It was like, hey, look, I did this. Even when it comes down to, like, how do I want to say this? We're in the age of social proof in a sense, right? How do I want to say this? In some ways, social proof has led us astray. So what you'll get a lot of people who say, like, hey, for instance, carnivore worked for me. It should work for everyone. Or keto worked for me. It should work for everyone. Insert some random diet here and it should work for everyone, right? Same thing, vitamin D fixed my depression. So now all of a sudden vitamin D cures depression. And again, these things might be true for that person. Like, insert diet here might have worked for that particular person, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a universal thing. So anecdotes reveal possibilities, not prescriptions.